Okay, guys, so we are here back at the rules, and as you guys can see, I have updated the rules all the way. It looks a little bit better. I made it more organized, because beforehand I just kind of put it together. But I'm not gonna go over everything with you guys. I'm just gonna go over all of the new things that I have added here. So if you come down here to childbirth, guys, childbirth is also a factor in this playthrough and could cause death for your sims involved. Using a 20-sided die, you will determine if your sim passes from childbirth. If you roll a 10 or a 20, then your sim dies. So guys, whenever we do have childbirth, it is going to be a factor. And I always wanted to add this, but I kind of was too lazy to add it. And I was like, I already have so many rules added on. I'm just going to wait to add it. And I did. And also seeing Fantasy Esque's playthrough with childbirth, I was like, okay, you know what? I think it's time to add it. Because I was so surprised at the fact that I did not have as many deaths this first season. And I thought I would have at least had one or two, but I never did. In terms of like just natural causes of any type of way. So I've decided to up the stakes. I'm not going to make it to where childbirth is like so like common, but 10 and 20s, your sim will pass away from that. So if you roll a 10 or a 20 when childbirth happens, that doesn't mean it matters for all people involved. So even if they're not a part of the main household, I will have to roll for them, and we will have to determine whether or not that sim does pass away from childbirth. Sickness was a big issue within the medieval days, and that has not changed in this sim world. If your sim gets sick, then you must roll a 20-sided die to decide their fates. Odd numbers, your sim dies. Even number, your sim survives. So I realized last season, guys, we did not have any deaths from sicknesses, which kind of was kind of bothering me, because like I made that rule for it to be more, for the stakes to be higher, because in those times, any like period where medicine was not as accessible or as good as it is now, people died more often. And the fact that no one died from those causes, I mean, we can say it was because they're witches, but like I feel like there's sicknesses even witches can't beat. So I I wanted to up the stakes with that, and maybe this might be too much, but we're gonna have to see. So for now on, whenever someone does get sick, we will roll, and the odd numbers will determine whether or not our sim passes away. So we have to avoid those numbers, but obviously that's not going to always happen. Um, so this could become a problem, but I'm going to test play it out to see if it will, and if it doesn't, then good, and if it does, then hey. But if Sims are dying left and right, then I might edit it a little bit more. But I have decided to change that, because I feel like we needed more deaths. Like with Arwen, I didn't want Arwen to die, but I was very, very surprised that 3 times she got sick and not one time she passed away from it. I feel like realistically, Arwen probably should have passed away, but it did not go that way. So I'm happy that she did survive, because I really do love Arwen. I feel like she should have passed away, because that was 3 times she didn't get sick. Maybe she's just really lucky, but for now on, odd numbers will be the determination of not our sim passes away. There are multiple different claimants, all stem from the royal bloodline. Claims are only given to daughters, sons, and grandchildren to the queen. Daughters have the strongest claim. They are called first claimants. Daughters of princesses have the second strongest claim. They are called second claimants. Daughters of princes have the weaker claim. However, they are the third strongest claim. They are called third claimants. And finally, princes have the weakest claim. They are called fourth claimants. These claims will play a part in influence as well as civil wars and coups. They determine how strong a person claim to the throne is. First and second claimants will have easier access to taking the throne. They are direct descendants of the queen through the female bloodline. Their claim is stronger than any. Third claimants are not as strong as the first two, but they have a claim, nonetheless, they are women. They could be from a different bloodline, but they are a direct descendant of the queen. They are most times from the male line, but they can also be a princess, daughter to another spare princess/heir. If they were no daughters to the queen, male descendant claimants would rise up to take first and second claimants. Then we have fourth claimants. Fourth claimants are the weakest of them all. They are the queen's blood, yes, but they are men. This realm is one of female dominance. However, just because they are the weakest of them all doesn't mean claiming the throne is impossible. So yeah, these are the claimants, guys, and they do add to our influence points. I am sorry if I'm cutting a lot, guys. I am currently cooking, so I am bouncing back in between recording and cooking at the same time. So even with coups, guys, I even edited that. There used to be like certain numbers to where coups would happen, but now it's even numbers. The coup that does commence in odd numbers, it's a false alarm. So if, for example, if Elodie would have not been in the capital by the time the queen died, we would have had to basically roll for a coup. And if it landed on an even number, then a coup would have happened, which raises the stakes of civil wars even more often. And civil wars are a little bit different from coups, but a coup can lead to a civil war. So I wouldn't really not call it a civil war, but because, placing someone that's not supposed to be on the throne is illegal. So it could definitely lead to a civil war, and most likely it will all the time. Then we come to influence points, guys. I've officially added it into our rules, and I have a more detailed version of everything that's going on. So this segment of the rules will tell you all the points a royal offspring can't obtain as heirs. So friendships with powerful nobles, high ladies, mistresses, princesses with land or counselors, and lord fathers. And we're going to get into lord fathers in the second season. So of course, each friendship you have with a high noble, like a noble lady, or a high mistress, not actual mistresses, because mistresses and masters are the daughters of high ladies and high lords, but high mistresses and high masters, I should probably add that here, so let me just do that right now. High mistresses, they will contribute to 1 point of your influence. So anybody who has land or on the council and you have a good friendship with them over the other princess, they will get that point. Having daughters will give you 1 point. Having sons will give you -1 point. First claimants, so if you're a first claimant, you will have 4 points added on to your total influence. Second claimants will have 3 points. Third claimants will have 2, and fourth claimants will have 1. And fourth claimants are barely ever used because they go to princes. So automatically princes, they get 1 point because they are fourth claimants. Becoming a princess of Moonstone gives you 2 points. Becoming a princess of Sunstone gives you 1. Forming a harem will give you 1 point. So basically, so far, everyone that is a princess has formed a harem that's in the second generation. So Princess Elodie, Princess Deianira, not Princess Artemis, but Princess Celestia, they have all formed harems of themselves, so they have this 1 point added onto their total. Having a familiar, dead or alive, so if you've had a familiar, you will get 1 point added onto your prestige points. Each rank of power will give you 1 point of prestige, and each friendly relationship a father has with a powerful noble will give them 1 point. And I've debated whether or not, and we will see probably in the next generation in season 2, but I've debated whether or not I should just make it to where it doesn't matter if the one father has that point. If, for example, like say Joel and Soren, and we have Edgona here, and they both had a friendly relationship with Edgona. I was debating whether or not I should just give both of them the point, or if I should just give one of them a point, whoever has the most highest relationship with Edgona. But I think I might not care as much with the male, so I might just say that both of them can have the point. We'll just have to see in the future. And also, the family a princess's royal noble father comes from. So guys, this is going to be a new factor that I have decided to add in the rules, and it has something to do with dynasty influence. We're going to get into that as well. These are some other added things, so like just little segments here. Third claimants, nobles of royal bloodline, they will get 1 point of influence when they do marry, but if it's a prince, they will get 2. So basically, let's say Thea marry a prince, she will get 2 prestige added on, 2 influence added onto her overall points, or prestige, whatever you want to say. But let's say if it was a first claimant or a second claimant, they would get points taken off for marriage. So negatives: A queen marries will give them -5. Second claimants also first. Yeah, so it says it here. First claimants -2. Second claimants -1. But if a queen marries, oh wow, that's basically the same thing. Let me just take this off. I think I should just take this off. There we go. A queen marries. A queen marries takes off a -5 points. A princess marrying takes off a -3 points. Negative relationships with nobles will give you 1 minus point. So it doesn't matter how high the relationship is, regardless of it. Negative relationships with high ladies or high nobles will give you a -point. Having sons, being lazy, and being a slob will all give you -1 point. So even though these are traits, being lazy and being a slob, they will contribute to your influence points because it just shows your work ethic as a princess. So it will go to their totals. So of course, these influence points has everything to do with the claimants. So anybody who is a claimant will be in an influence point system. So basically, all of Elodie's children, all of Deianira's children, all of Celestia's children, all of Prince Oren's kids, and all of Prince Amir's kids will all be inside of the influence point system. Then finally, we come down here to influence, dynasty influence, and this will work a little bit differently. Nobles also have influence, but not in the same way royals do. Their influence points are determined by their coven's accomplishments, and instead of going to an individual person, they go to the overall coven. However, for instance, if a male from a coven becomes a concubine, he will have his coven's points along with the points he obtains as a consort of the royal family. Those influence points will be given to his daughter if he survives to the next queen's reign. So it is imperative that your royal father stays alive, or your royal fathers stay alive. So even the queens are inside of this like coven influence system. So their dynasty influence. So each family, each coven has their own influence system. So if you are a queen, you automatically get 5 points. So it works like this, essentially. Depending on what council members, what council positions you obtain in the time frame of basically each queen's reign, it will be added onto your family's influence point, and it builds with each generation, each season. So basically, with the queens, for instance, their dynasty influence has already 5 points. But because Elodie has now become queen, has added 10 on there. So their dynasty influence is at 10 right now. Then we have the Mother Seers. Each time a Mother Seer becomes basically a part of that dynasty, they will get 5 points, or that coven, I should say, because I wouldn't say the dynasty, but it would go into the covens because some covens are within one dynasty. But each Mother Seer that is a part of that dynasty or that coven will get basically 5 points added on to their overall points. And right now we've had one Mother Seer, so right now the Bennett family only has 5 points of influence. And we have basically marrying a prince. So marrying a prince will also give you 1 point. Becoming a traitor will give you 8 points taken off your family's dynasty influence. And marriage refusals and excommunications will also give you -2 basically influence points. Concubines marrying the queen, however, would give them 5 points in influence. These points will not go to the queen's family, so it wouldn't go to the Odina family, but it'll go to the family that the concubine is from. So basically, if Thomas, let's say if basically Deianira became queen and Thomas ended up marrying Deianira, those 5 points would go to the Crescent family because they have accomplished getting a marriage with the queen. Unlike, I should probably make it to where like making basically a queen marrying someone would be like 5 points taken off their total family influence. So yeah, I'm gonna go actually to our spreadsheet to show you all. So here, guys, I have updated our influence points. We have the claimant level, which goes all here. So of course, Elodie, she was a first claimant, so she has 4 points, as well as Deianira and Celestia. So they have all started off with 4 points. Moira is a second claimant, so she has 3 points. Thea is a third claimant, so she has 2 points. Arwen is a third claimant. Robin and Helen are both third claimant. I said Arwen was a third. Arwen is a second claimant. Robin and Helen are third claimants. Nara and Amelia are also Nara and Amelia are both third claimants. So because they are daughters of princesses who are not the heir or the queen, they are princesses, but they are low ranking princesses. So Nara and Amelia, they have second points added onto their influence because they are daughters of princesses who are not heiresses. So essentially, any child that's born from Deianira and Celestia that's a girl will have second claimants, but they would not be third claimants. But children born from Elodie and Moira will have third claimants, but any other spare heirs will not have those same that same influence. As you all can see, Hestia and Hera also have third points to their influence level. Then of course, I did in fact calculate the amount of friendships Elodie, Deianira, and Celestia did make with the High Lady. I did write it down because I could not write this on this spreadsheet here, but essentially, guys, Elodie has 4 to Deianira's 3. So even though Princess Celestia does have friendships with some of these ladies, they have higher friendships with Elodie and Deianira. So Elodie and Deianira are neck and neck when it came to like making friendships and alliances within the queendom. So essentially Elodie had 4 and Deianira had 3 and Celestia had 0. So these are the total points. And in Elodie, rank as a witch is she has basically 6 ranks. So she has automatically 6 points. And Deianira's rank is 5, so she's 1 below her sister. And Celestia's rank is 2, so she has only 2 ranks as a witch. Then as daughters, Queen Elodie has not had any sons, so she has a straight total of 4 points added onto her total. So she has had 4 daughters. Deianira, however, has had 3 sons and 1 daughter. So she has -2 added on to her total influence. No, she's supposed to have -3. So because of that, she has had -3 prestige points or influence points. I keep calling it prestige points because that's what it was named in the beginning of my series, but it changed like towards the middle of it to influence points. So I have a habit of calling these prestige points. Then of course, Princess Elodie, when she was a princess, she became the Princess of Moonstone. And so that gave her 2 added onto her total. And Princess Deianira became the Princess of Sunstone, which gave her 1 added onto her total. And then of course, all of the princesses here have formed harems. So they have had 1 point added onto their total influence. And the only one to ever get married was Elodie, which gives her -3 influence points. But the other 2 have not married, so it does nothing to their total. And the only 2 out of the 3 of them that are alive, Elodie and Deianira, have had familiars, have been Elodie and Deianira. So they have had 1 point. They have had 1 point added onto their total. And then we have father's total. So I did write this down. Soren only had 3 relationships with noble ladies, and because there's no other males to challenge him, he gets all the prestige points that because there's no other males to challenge him, he gets all of the influence points from those relationships that he have. So he was friends with Clara, he had a relationship with Margaret, and he also had a relationship with Marcella. So because of that, he gets 3 points added on to his total, to his daughter's total. So the crazy part about this, guys, in the future, people born from noble families will become more prestigious. Now, the only reason why this number 3, this is not a lot of prestige points or not a lot of influence points, is basically because Soren was one of the first males, and he didn't come from any royal family. I think the only one from the old world that came from a royal family was Joel, but we can't go based off the old world's records. So the first males, they're not going to have as many points as their for their daughters because of their family. They don't really have any family points. Because when the next generation does come, or next season does come, we will always calculate the relationships that the fathers have, but also the dynasty they come from, or the coven they come from. So their family's total will go to the princess's total. So Soren didn't have any family. He was a man, a part of Orlan's harem, and he didn't have any family. He was essentially an Odina. So even if he had those dynasty points, they would not get added on to his daughter's total. So he had a 3. And altogether, Elodie amassed 22 points, Deianira 12, Celestia 7, and of course we have all the normal princesses here with their points because of their claimant titles. So these are all of our influence points. And as you guys can see, Elodie was the most capable princess of the second generation of season 2. She was the most capable princess. And then Deianira, then Celestia. I'm pretty sure if Princess Artemis was here, she probably would have rivaled with her sister Elodie. Maybe not to take the throne, but because I remember Artemis actually had a lot more relationships with other people than Elodie did. She was a lot more popular amongst the nobles than Elodie was. So I can definitely see Artemis probably having something that could rival her sisters, or even more. So guys, then we have our dynasty influence. So these are all the influence points that have become amassed over the course of our queendom, and by the dynasty by the dynasties or the covens here. I keep saying dynasty is covens because they could have multiple covens within each dynasty, but we're not following the whole dynasty. We're following specific covens. Because for all we know, like for example, the stars are a part of the Crescent dynasty, but they are different covens. So their coven points, their house points, their influence points will be different. So, we have here, guys, we have the Odinas. So we've had 5 queens. We've had 2 queens. We've had 2 queens so far. So, of course, as I said before, queens give you 5 points. So that adds on to the Odina family's coven influence points. And so far we've had an Odina become a lady knight, which gives you 4 points added onto your total. And we've had a princess of the Odina family become a lady stewardess, which gives you 2 points added onto your total. And marrying a prince does give you 1 point added onto your total. And Princess Elodie, even though I might edit this, I might actually make this 16, guys, because I don't want marriage to be like a prestige gain when when it comes to the royal family. So I might add something here, or you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do marriage, and I'm going to give the Odina family -5 points because they have basically married, because they have allowed for marriage to go on within their family. So that would give their family a total of 11 points instead of 16 or 17. So their total coven points is 11 because of this marriage that Elodie had. It doesn't matter if she is not a queen or a princess, but when it comes to dynasty influence, the marriage is not a good thing within the royal family, or is not as good. Is not looked kindly upon, because they want to make sure that their queen is focusing more on her heirs, not her loves. Then we have the Crescents. They have been lady hands. They have also been the alchemists because of Lady Marcella, but they have also been traitors. So even though that they have been found, innocent, they still have this mark on their family. And they also were married to a prince, so that gives them 1 point of influence to their family's total, which gives them in total 1 influence. So their family has definitely came down in the ranks in terms of how influential they are, because of what happened to their family when they basically became traitors. It probably was a very embarrassing thing for them, and it makes sense. They're back in the good graces, but they have to kind of gain their reputation back up again, you know? Then we have the Sonnets. Of course, they became Lady Hand. She's also been a Lady Knight. And then, of course, they have also been traitors, but also married married a prince. Now, the difference is with the Crescents and the Sonnets, the Lady Giselle was also the Lady Hand and the Lady Knight, but unlike unlike Lady Giselle, the Crescents, they've only been Lady Hand. Lady Marcella has become a Lady Alchemist. She's never been a Lady Knight. So because Lady Knights have a little bit more influence than the Crescents do, well, the Lady Knights have a little bit more influence than the Hands do. They have one more point ahead of the Crescents. So unlike the Crescents who have 1 point, the Sonnets have 2. Then we have the Morganas. They have been Lady Hands because of Lady Clara, and they have been Lady Alchemists. They've never married princes. They have never had a marriage refusal. They've never had a concubine marry a queen as of yet. And they have never been traitors, and they've never been excommunicated. So a total, the Morganas have 8 influence, and so far, guys, they are the most influential family. Then we have the Tarths, who have only been so far Lady Stewardesses, so they have a total of 2 influence within their family. The Stars have never been on the council, so they have a total of 0 influence. And the Bennets have only been Mother Seers, so they only have that 5 points of influence due to the fact that we've only had 1 Mother Seer so far. So that is Dynasty influence, guys. I know this has probably been like a very long video, but I just wanted to get that out before we did start season 2. And I don't know when I'm going to record it because I do get very busy, guys. But I am in a preparation of season 2 right now. Like, I've been editing the castle just a little bit, like changing around a few rooms now that there is a new queen. And I've been trying to make portraits, but my game has been acting up so bad, like to where, I don't know, guys, like every time I create a portrait, paint from reference, I come back in the game, the portrait disappears. And I'm like, what? Like, that's so annoying. And I gotta figure out what's wrong with the game. I don't know if it's because of the update or what. I'm pretty sure it's not, but I need to figure out what's going on with it. I might have to go in my game and, you know, see what mods is causing the confliction or whatever. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. But my name is Ronald December, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.